We said it at the beginning of the show. When the Toronto Maple Leafs acquired Scott Laughton, we yelled out, Brad! Okay, no, we can't do Brad, as in Brad Treliving, the Steve Dangle thing. In this video, we can yell out Brad for different reasons, because, man, Brad Marchand is heading over to the Florida Panthers, pending the league's trade call. Now, I get it. You could ask, wait a minute, what the hell? Are you allowed to make trades at the end of the trade deadline period? It's already past 12. Yes, you're allowed to make trades as long as you are in the pending league trade call thing. Like if you had already made the call for the trade before 12 and you were already working out the finer details. I don't know what the exact rules are, but there are a lot of trades that usually don't go through until the very end or shortly after the 12 p.m. finish time. But it does look like, according to Sarah Bailey, according to Johnston, according to Friedman, Marchand to Florida is indeed happening. Now, do we know the return? Do we know? It does not look like we know the return. Brandon Carlo's getting moved. Utah's getting moved. Shea Weber. Oh my gosh. Okay. That's a nice trade right there. But, yeah, we don't have ourselves the full-on trade detail return for Brad Marchand just yet. But I wanted to dive into this because when you think about rats, everybody has been talking about it on social media for the past, 10 minutes. Imagine Marchand, Matthew Tkachuk, and Sam Bennett. Imagine trying to get under those guys' skin. Imagine trying to get a one-up or a leg up over those guys. That is the ultimate rat line that you could think of with Marchand, Tkachuk, and Bennett. Ay, ay, ay. Florida, thank you very much. Y'all just booked your ticket to the Stanley Cup Finals here. Brad Marchand is 36 years old, 5'9", 176, a left-handed winger. I mean, he's listed here as a center too, so I guess he can play C. Maybe it's not the most immediate thought that you would have, but Brad Marchand this season, 47 points in 61 games played, 61 points in 79 games is the projection here. He is coming off of back-to-back 67-point seasons. He also had 80 points 3 seasons ago, 87 points in 2019-20, a 100-point campaign in 2018-19, multi-time Stanley Cup finalist, one-time Stanley Cup champion. He has made the NHL's first All-Star team twice, and he made the second All-Star team twice as well. Brad Marchand is one of the more decorated and longevity-driven players in the entire NHL this season, and just his overall body of work at 36 years old, still doing the things he did at the Four Nations. He had scored that big goal. He is a force to be reckoned with. Sure, he might have lost a little bit of a step compared to where he was a few years ago. He's 36 after all. You can't go out there and expect him to continuously be a quick step-up kind of guy. He isn't as fast as he used to be, but he still is a very effective player at what he does, at getting under people's skin. He was the captain of the Bruins, so they traded away their captain after Patrice Bergeron ended up retiring, and now heading over to the Florida Panthers. I mean, this is a team with Carter Verhaeghe, Barkov, Reinhart, Matthew Tkachuk, Bennett, and Marchand. You're going to have a lot to like out of this gosh darn team. Matthew Tkachuk, man, when he comes back, this team is going to be making the gosh darn finals one more time. Brad Marchand, please do not underestimate his overall capabilities of scoring big points and big goals in the playoffs. He has been a playoff performer the past decade and a bit. Spare 5 points in 12 games in 2014 and 2 points in 7 games in 2012. The guy is a consistent playoff performer, especially since this recent stint where the Bruins started making the gosh darn playoffs every single year. 17 points in 12 games, 23 points in 24 games, 12 points in 13, 12 and 11, 11 and 7, 10 and 7, 10 and 11 as well. Brad Marchand averages over a point per game per series if you go back to 2021-2022. The guy is a monster in the postseason, and when the games get important, this is when he really steps up. If the gosh darn Florida Panthers go out there and play Toronto in the first round, then watch out, man. I get it that there's an entire Boston angle there. Brandon Carlo just got moved over to Toronto, so you can say that Marchand could be playing off against one of his old buddies in Carlo, but Marchand's impact shall not be understated, especially on a team that just won the gosh darn Stanley Cup, like the Florida Panthers, who are looking to repeat, who have a lot of the same cast from last year to this year. Sure, they don't have some guys like Brandon Montour left, but guess what? They replaced him with Seth Jones. So obviously, there's a lot of value here out of this Florida Panthers team. And I wanted to go out there and try to refresh the page. Can we see the full-on trade details for Brad Marchand? No, it does not look like we're going to get that. Next video is going to be the Shea Weber trade, because yeah, of course, we got to talk about him. Shea Weber to Chicago, baby. But for now, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Brad Marchand and the Florida Panthers. Let's go out there and read some of these replies, because obviously people are going to be super, super excited to see this go down. It's happening. Let's go and read AFP Analytics. Would love to see Brad Marchand stay in Florida long term. He would most likely have to take a little bit less than AFP's projection of $7.797 million a year for 3 years. Honestly, 7.7 is pretty all right for Marchand. He's making 6.125 right now. This contract was a really long one, starting in 2017-2018, so a full 8-year deal that the Boston Bruins are trading Marchand away for because he doesn't want to, or because they don't want his contract to expire on their team. Who knows if he would have re-signed? I mean, we know that he is a full-on, lifelong Bruin. He was drafted by Boston back in 2006, made his debut with that team in 2010, pretty much, and then became a full-time player, winning the Stanley Cup in 2011. So, a long-time Bruin is no longer with the team. The garbage truck is outside. Maybe that's really, really coincidental, because we were talking about players who can play some pretty good garbage hockey. Brad Marchand, Sam Bennett, and Matthew Tkachuk, man. Imagine that. Let's go out there and see some of these other replies. Yeah, there you go. Pretty scary for opposing teams. And I had to pause the DraftKings page because they're posting a clip from the Bear. I don't want that to pop up in this YouTube video. Congrats, Florida Panthers. Bench rate says that Brad Marchand is a 79% individual offensive player, an 82% on-ice offensive player, a 34 percentile defensive player, and a 71% contribution player. So very all-around player, just not with the great defending that we had seen in the past, but ultimately Brad Marchand still does bring so much value. Let's go out there and see the NWO, Matthew Tkachuk, Brad Marchand, and Sam Bennett. Who's Marchand in this conversation? Is it Hulk Hogan, because he is the oldest guy of the three? Sam Bennett, Brad Marchand, Matthew Tkachuk, which one is which? I'm not really too sure. Jaws on the ground, end of an era in Boston. Need to see that return. Yeah, we do need to see that return. I'm not too sure, man. We're not seeing anybody post about it here on social media. So for now, I'll just leave you with this. Brad Marchand is a Florida Panther, at least according to all the insiders. We'll see what the return is a little bit later. I'm not expecting it to be a lot, but for the Boston Bruins to trade this guy away and to see Marchand don another NHL sweater, that's crazy. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.